Thirdly, for those keeping count, that would automatically make them assume again if the town rumor had to do with either, or if I was taking some offbeat census. When would they take me seriously? When would they not? As you can see, I got a kick out of that temporary role, if only to be mostly down to earth and help anyone notice anything about themselves. You never know where it'll go. It takes some time and believing and lightening up, and before they reported back, they'd have as much fun as of a Mark Twain funny bone as I. If they did, it would be easier to begin with, though. Plus, I think I had the most fun changing folks' perspective while the rumor was in its prime than anybody. Kind of a blessing in disguise that these cases were precociously sparking my interest in mine theirs like Ford to Shakespeare. I must be modest, as I was not sharing my opinion of them, for modesty is simple. It would have been more complicated if I had. Sharing it on paper is another way to be therapeutic to myself, thus joining the club, and if one or more of these loosely termed folks picks it up, so be it. I may even autograph it in a double whammy coincidence, but what if I don't write my own name? What if I just write the name they thought I was? Just to keep flattering. Would they really know the real me? Do you? I suppose having just one person listen and made me to answer their prayers. Kind of touching. I'm on my notes, like the one about the one yo-yo who told me that he'd like to visit Hawaii or Iceland, purely for the active volcanoes, let alone a honeymoon. I felt tempted to ask if he'd eat pufferfish only because he could be buried alive from the results, but that's about as much of a curiosity daredevil as I'll get, other than checking rumor validity with my own eyes. Some questions are a lot more fascinating than answers, like the ones I've been asking, such as where does the luck come from, a penny on heads, or to be or not to be? Don't deny it. As much delight pretending to be a psychiatrist was for me, I really took on the edge off that going to the swamp on my own. I had nobody to tell after this but paper. Paper wouldn't ask me more questions and raise more without getting to the point. I wasn't afraid thus having a different preconceived notion, and only wished I could send them to other friends so they could share the fun. The conclusion of the situation I knew that they wouldn't was that I had been a basic personification of placebo, if nothing more. Yet if I'd send them to someone else, any of them would scoop right off the couch with a pout, whether or not they accepted the offer. Plus, whoever did see them might not have the heart to tell me if there was hypochondria or a subconscious problem. So the benefit of continuing the charade just to not disappoint would ripple. Is psychology that easy? I've already said how I make a few bucks on the wall or off the wall. Anyway, I was thinking rather more about if any of them picked up on Dr. Bobby Pin. and couldn't stifle a sharp grin when my thoughts stumbled back to my probably second favorite suspicious questions, more interesting than answers. Mr. Volcano Fetish asked out of nowhere, what if Abel thought Cade betrothed to him as Pop-Tarts? I knew he was being rhetorical without realizing, and I liked it to play along condescendingly. You think about that while you stare at the ceiling at night counting sheep, and guess if Jesus sent them when the Sandman was on his coffee break. A guy like him has got to be caffeinated. I'm not one to really mock religion. In retrospect, suspecting Cain and Abel being humorously misinterpreted sounds more like a shenanigan from Mr. Sir Megaphone. Back when they only had one name. Also, in regards to respect, maybe the volcano-loving god just wanted to date a virgin. Hey, my accounts have to sound, well, accountable, because if you're going to pretend to be anything, do it professionally. And try to have a sense of humor about every day. Even if you're staring at the ceiling counting sheep. Oh, never mind. Just take jokes and advice people mean well by it. Can you guess mine yet? For instance, what would one hope for lording around active volcanoes? What, hoping to court a virgin he rescued before the eruption from a savage tribe who wore Easter Island masks? Both a joke and an honest question. Ho ho. I know I'm getting off topic, but such absurd notions, however, had not checked in my thought hotel when I entered the swamp and looked for anything at all. I suspect it wouldn't be in any plain swamp. As if I'd checked others. Why didn't I make that a job? Meanwhile, the suspicion of what I'd been told was all in the belief itself there was anything. I bet even half otherwise humans, uninhabited natural habitats, were if they had horns on their heads or not or something, required warrants to inspect. If they were even aware of local authorities to begin with, like uncontacted tribes. Yet, as you know, I'm no cop either. But if you got a feel, let me have it. In fact, had I seen any police, I would have expected to by yellow tape. There are certain things that suggest what's what. Or to interpret what's what. Nor gone any further, because they could tell me what I need to find out, provided police in my own town don't fib, to keep top secret for the town's sake. A relief. If only authorities could check it out. And what they can, is there a top authority for that? I consider myself one such authority, the subtle kind, like time and health and chances, the unspoken of ones. If only to return to the people counting on answers so they'd hop off the Looney Express, or at least see someone certified if they still required it. Someone who could really help them. I feel like I've been recruited. Well, out of the ordinary or not, my first thought was how absolutely still and silent the swamp was. Even more than now. Even here you hear birds. Like the world moved on. For however long the rumors hadn't desisted. Yet I remained most mesmerized, spellbound really, by the eye-catching way the light dabbled in and out of the wild tangle above. Like it played. None of the accounts mentioned the light playing tricks on your eyes in the stark daylight, but plus I know all of them went at different hours during the day and night. Let alone clouds. No clouds. Here, this time, in a vast robin's egg blue canvas of the sky. The witnesses were at height, so thus, this manuscript leads to my own. And when do you start and stop being a witness, though? And start being involved? Not just because I had been fully aware to expect something daffy going on, and because of that, like a fun house, I believe more than half of them, while simultaneously hesitant but to believe that irrelevant stuff spewed in some of the same sessions. Dare I call him that? Bear with me when I say, with no wind blowing and no sounds of animals you'd think chattering away in other bogs, my heart did a backflip when the sunlight was quickly covered and uncovered without a ruffle of leaves. It's even more lively here now. What a relief. My lungs turned to Pluto space ice upon reacting. My eyes shot straight up. Are there even monkeys in swamps? Clearly, the same swamp could play tricks depending on how strong the explorer's imagination was. This was no illusion, however, far-fetched and experienced like a giant camera shutter above the sounds. Talk about joining the club. How long until I was clubbed? Immediately I turned around, but paused. Sooner or later, someone would have to verify the goings-on only by looking at further than the rest. It could have been me. Now here, or now there. The others couldn't say for sure if he was right, since they hadn't, even if stubborn, for dismay's sake, like the Pope excommunicating with the Martian invasion. You can't get more stubborn than a mule. Had it really been an animal tampering with the light amounts, I plainly know. Not that it was necessary to balance myself on stilts to check when I'd get molasses slow to moving anyhow. Based on the one belief that it was haunted, it doesn't take a Ghostbuster to know that deeper in, the stronger the source radiated. Anyway, after I'd begun to turn back and stopped, I'd turn around ahead again with my most logical thought in mind ever yet. How did anyone else know whatever spooked them was here on purpose? What if it didn't know? What if it was some sort of merely contact attempt? Or just interpreted as one? It sure isn't unheard of that paranormality consists of that. They don't know they're dead. If one could choose to become what they were. Nobody says if you become a ghost on purpose. Usually you don't. My difference is being I pondered logical questions while the previous snoopers just had to pull a Scooby-Doo.